So I have finally had a chance to play Tankcompany, and I must say, it's not quite what I was expecting. It's not bad, it's just a little bit different than I might have anticipated. And there are definitely some things, just like with any game, things that I like, things that I don't like, and that's what I'm going to be going over in today's video. So, firstly, I actually really like the fact that they didn't just outright go and copy World of Tanks Blitz. Playing the game, there are definitely some noticeable and honestly nice differences. For example, the tier structure is a little bit different, so it's not an identical tier 1 to tier 10, which is a little bit of getting used to on my part, but it is definitely nice to see that it wasn't just a complete copycat. As well, the graphics are, of course, different, and just general gameplay features are a little bit different. The crews, particularly, are fairly different in this game than they were in Blitz. So I have to say that the first thing that I really like about the game is that it is different. They have their own unique spin on how a tank game should be played. As well, I really like the promotionals that have been going on for the early parts of the game. Either it's getting free tanks or getting very inexpensive tanks, or just generally giving the player a nice reward for going ahead and playing their game, and it is definitely really nice. As well, the actual gameplay itself seems fairly solid for the most part. I can definitely tell they put a lot of work into it. Of course, it is a tank game. It's pretty much expected to have things like spotting, bush mechanics, armor, general things that we would expect from a tank game. I will say, though, in some scenarios, the auto aim is a little bit finicky, I guess, because in especially the smaller maps with the lower tiers where there's a ton of players and you're all kind of cramped together and the players aren't necessarily the best, and when the enemy team gets into a huge, like, really tight cluster, it just becomes a little bit weird because your auto aim wants to aim at one tank and then it kind of just wants to go aim at a different one, and then you kind of have to drag really hard to make it go back to the tank you were originally shooting at. So that is the one issue, but again, that's in lower tiers, so that's probably likely due to just how close and clustered up the enemy tanks tend to be. Now, those are some of the good things. Now I want to go over some of the things that I found that I didn't like as much. Firstly, the UI of the game. I know this sounds a little bit picky, but it looks kind of messy to me. I get that they're going for the World War II look here, but there's just a bit much going on. You can see a few screenshots here, and you may disagree with me. This is just a personal opinion, but I would say it looks a little bit cluttered and messy, but that is one thing. And also the crew skills. Now, I really like that they've not just, again, copied World of Tanks Blitz, but it is a fairly complicated crew system, and even as a tank player or a tank game player, I am a bit overwhelmed by the crew. There's just so much going on there, and it wasn't that well explained to me, I must say. Granted, I did kind of speed through it, but still, it's a little bit just not what I was expecting, I guess, and it's a little bit complicated. Not complaining about it. Again, it could just be me needing to get used to it, but it is one thing I noticed. It may overwhelm some players. Also, the graphics are, while they are good, can really lag any kind of device, even the fact that I was running this on a computer. Droodle said that he played it on a very expensive phone, and on max graphics, it held a very unstable 30 FPS. And personally, on my machine, running a fairly good emulator, running, I think I gave it like 8 gigs of RAM and about 8 cores of my CPU, which is an insane amount. And it would still kind of lag and crash a lot. So I would say the biggest complaint I really have about it is probably that the game was developed a little bit too futuristic in mind, I guess. They made the game as if they were making it for a PC as opposed to a mobile, but it was released on mobile, so it's really laggy. I just don't think technology has reached the point where we can really expect to see games or graphics like this just yet. And the last small, not a huge, but a little bit of a small issue is the translation, I guess. It is a Chinese game, so of course someone had to go through and translate it. And I've noticed that some of the words don't quite match up. For example, you can see in this mission here, it said I had to play a game with some sort of extras on or something like that. Sorry, it was accessories. That's what it was. It said I needed to play a game with accessories on. So I clicked on it, and it kind of redirected me to this little area here, and I was a little bit confused because there was nothing with the word accessory on it. Come to find out, it was equipment, and not only was it equipment, but I had to have all 3 slots of equipment to actually play in a game to get this to work, and I was very confused for a little bit. So first of all, if you were looking for the answer to that, there it is. And secondly, I have just noticed that, again, a few little translation errors. But again, these are really just nitpicky things. For the most part, I would say the game is fairly solid. And again, comparing it to Blitz, even though I personally prefer Blitz, you also have to realize that Blitz has been around for a substantially longer time than Tankcompany. In fact, Tankcompany has been out for maybe a little over a week, maybe 2 weeks. It's not long, so they definitely have some time to grow and time to improve. So I'm not really knocking them. I just noticed a few things, but again, we can just wait and see what they do with them, because I have a feeling over time, just like any other game, it'll probably end up getting better. They'll find out their niche. They'll get things a little bit more squared down. It's just in the current early stages, we can expect to see some things that might be a little bit off, but I do think that Tankcompany definitely is worth taking a look at. And of course, this is just my personal opinion. You should definitely check the game out for yourself. That is, if you can. It's not out on iOS at the time of me making this video, I do not believe. But still, if you can, just try the game and see if you like it. Maybe you'll like it better than Blitz. Maybe you'll still like Blitz better. It really depends. But anyway, that is my opinion on the game. Hope you all enjoyed, and as always, have fun, good luck, and happy tanking.